So I'm not going to start our mini lesson quite yet because we're waiting for a couple teachers who are going to have the chance to get to see writing time today. But I do want to ask you just a couple background questions and let you have the chance to talk to your partners first, and then we'll kick off into our official mini lesson. But as you've been starting to learn a little bit more about the American Revolution, what do you think is the most fascinating or interesting or strange or curious facts that you've been learning so far? So just talk it up and just turn to your partner and say, like, I see someone open their notebook, which is absolutely perfect. Like, I was kidding with the teachers this morning. I was like, well, I know a lot about the American Revolution because I like Hamilton the musical, but of course that's not quite all true. So just turn to your partner and point out, what's been interesting to you so far in studying the American Revolution. So you might start by saying, I think, or another stem like that. Okay, partner up. Go ahead. I think. I think fascinating.
I think that including a series of
So let me pull us together for a second, and I want to get a couple big ideas into the room while we wait for the other adults to join us. What are some of the things that have been? I'm eavesdropping on a word that I heard someone say, which is fascinating, which is such a powerful way to think about learning history. It should be fascinating for us. That's why I'm really admiring the books on the chalk ledge there. Don Brown is just a rock star author of nonfiction. You see 3 of his books there, and he always makes it fascinating, which is so powerful. So what'd you find interesting so far? Whole class voice, because people all the way over here need to hear you.
I think the Declaration of Independence is one of the most important documents in human history.
Okay, and say why. Say it again. You don't have a reason why. Anyone else impressed by the Declaration of Independence? Did anyone watch the Schoolhouse Rock on that? We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice and domestic tranquility, he provide for the common defense. Okay, I'm singing. That's a little bit weird for a guest teacher. But here's what's interesting. That document, you might think it's the most important one. I'm going to push you as a studier of history. I want you to unpack why it's important. So today, when we dig into VIP things of the American Revolution, as you start to think about your topic ideas, it's going to be important for you to have more than just, excuse my French for a minute, but like barfing up someone's facts about it. I want you to be like, yeah, I'm interested in this because blah, blah, blah. Because we have a that still guides our laws. Is that fabulous? Is it old-fashioned of us? Shouldn't it be like a Declaration of Independence app now, right? Instead of this piece of paper, I think that's in Philadelphia. It's like it makes us think, and that's what really good studying of history is like. It was so amazing then. I was overhearing people talking about the taxing that happened, the Stamp Act, the Tea Act. Can you imagine if someone, actually, some cities have this. They have a tax on soda. Yeah, every time you buy a soda, you pay extra because soda's not healthy. And they're like, you're going to drink all that soda, I'm going to charge you 5 cents every time you buy a soda at McDonald's or Burger King or 7-Eleven, and we're going to take all those extra nickels and we're going to use it to have baseball teams and do health and wellness checks and diabetes things because drinking soda is so unhealthy. We have to counterbalance it with athletics or information. So like, we might be like, that was so horrible back then. But then on the other hand, we sometimes have what we call sin taxes, the taxes on things that are bad for you. Cigarettes, soda, I don't know what else. Gasoline, we have a lot of tax on gas, but is gas bad? No, we need it. But on the other hand, is gas bad?
Yes and no.
Yeah, yes and no, right? So that's what's so awesome about history. We get to live in this like, good, bad, I'm not sure. Hamilton, he was a hero or he was a total jerk. Like, depends on how much you learn about him, right? He was very good in the play, though. No, that wasn't him. That was Lin-Manuel. So I had to remember, real history versus fake history. Okay, so thank you for doing a great job of waiting for adults to come around. You guys were in protocol page 3, so you just want to take as many notes as you can during this time. I am going to set this timer for 12 minutes, and then maybe I'll need 2 extra minutes. But this part of workshop, where we gather on the rug, is called the mini lesson. Who can give me a synonym for mini? Another word that means mini. Yeah. Yep, another word. Small.
Tiny.
Tiny. Short. This part is short. And during this time, I keep my teacher's guide right with me. I'm doing some really direct teaching. The teacher is the boss of the mini lesson. You'll have some time to talk, but this is where you're learning to do new things to become better informational writers. And then you're going to go off from this rug right away and work on those things, okay? So let me get us started. Writers. As you grow as writers, you take all the strategies that you've already learned and you apply them to the new genre. So what genre are we in right now? So what's our genre? Are we writing fantasies?
No.
Comics?
No.
What are we writing?
Information.
We're writing informational text, right? Although it could be that you put a little comic in it when you're done because that's so interesting for people. Or it could be that you add a little bling to it in some way. But we're really working on writing informational text. And to do that work well, you need some support. Remember when you were learning how to ride a two-wheeler and a grown-up would hold the back of the seat to support you? And you'd be like, don't let go, don't let go. And the parent would be like, I won't. But really, did they let go eventually? Yes, even though they were fibbing a bit. Like, that's how learning how to write is. You're like, give me a form to fill out. Help me, help me. And the teacher's like, yes, I'll help you, I'll help you. But eventually, we have to let go. We have to release responsibility to you as writers. We have to say, like, I can't do the work for you. You need to put pen to paper and get as much down as you can. So this work of becoming writers will involve you taking everything you've learned and applying it to the new genre and then getting busy with the work. And today we're going to use the frame of finding a good focus idea as the work of the day. So we're really thinking about our work of the day. We're getting busy and better as writers by practicing doing tons of writing. And grown-ups' job is to provide some support, but eventually let go of the bike, because that's how life works, right? You got to be able to work these muscles on your own. So, writers, I'm going to ask you to think about some of the things that are on this chart. I know not everyone can see it. I think I'm going to reposition this for a minute here. There's not a great place to reposition it. Let me cover this up and ask you guys to scoot out for a minute, okay? Just pull out so that you can see this chart. So as writers, there's a game plan. There's a roadmap for the work that you're going to be doing. We've all got the same big topic. What's our big topic? All about the American Revolution, right? But today we're going to be getting deeper into other topics. So you're making a plan for what your work will look like. You're taking notes. Does that feel comfortable or uncomfortable? Yeah, that's the new part, right? That's the part where I'm holding the back of the bike a little bit, getting to talk to you. We're working with our partners to get better at that part. And then you've got to start figuring out, so what's your plan going to be for actually writing up something that other people might be interested in reading? Okay, you guys can scoot back. So in that work today, in the plan that we have, I'm going to ask you to make this shift of moving away from general information about the Revolutionary War and start to get into some specific information as you go into the next part of your information book. So chances are you're going to do some of the work you've been doing the same day, in the past days. You'll have a book, you'll read it, you'll take some notes. You'll go to a website, you'll read it, you'll take some notes. You'll watch a video, you'll stop it, you'll take some notes, right? So we're growing our muscles at being good note takers. But the truth is, the notes aren't the writing. The notes are the notes. The notes aren't the writing part. The notes are going to have to be those jots are going to have to be put together in order to make some good writing about your topic. I'm going to say that one more time. Your notes aren't what you're turning in. Your notes aren't your final product. Your notes are the information that you're going to use in order to write, an informational book. Kind of feels like a collection of essays that you put together on the same topic. And what's our topic one more time?
All about the Revolution.
Yeah, the Revolutionary War. Okay, so you have a job as a writer, and that's to figure out what today am I interested in diving into deeper. So you keep seeing me look at the focus topic ideas on the board. Do you see that over there? Quartering text, T-text, Sugar Act, John Hancock, John Adams, all the people. Sons of Liberty, Betsy Ross. Yes, let's get some women in there. The Declaration of Independence, right? So we have these important people, these important activities, these important events that happen. And as writers today, I'm going to ask you to dig deeper into one or two of those things and do some very specific, targeted research on something. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go to your notebooks right now and skim the notes you've been taking and put your eyes on the focus topic ideas and read down that list. I'll give you 60 seconds to just sort of get some ideas about what you are most interested in digging deeper into. Okay, go. This is personal work, rereading, eyes on the chart as well. You might also want to look at the covers of these books as you're sitting there as well. We're down to just 45 seconds now. Those books. Okay, writers, eyes on me. So right now together, we've just done this work of digging into your notes to sort of choose a topic. I want you to find the next blank page in your notebook and just sort of put the name of that topic on there. So whoever or whatever it is, get it on there. Quick, quick, quick. Yep, I already see someone writing Betsy Ross. Good, what else are you writing down? Good. Just put that topic. What are you interested in digging more into? What could you focus on next in the American Revolution? Boston Tea Party, Declaration of Independence, right? We've got some people, we've got some activities, we've got some laws and rules. Writers, eyes on me. This is where you've got to do some hard work now. As a writer, you might decide that you need to make a plan. For instance, who picked a person? A person. How many people put a person's name down? These writers might make a plan for saying, hey, as I'm taking notes, I'm going to be putting down events in someone's life. So I'm going to put in blah, blah, blah date, they were born. In blah, 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 they moved to Boston. And then in everything in the Revolutionary War happened in like the, what decades or what century am I in? 17s, right? I'm in the 17s. In 1760 something, this happened, right? So if you're writing about a person, your plan might be in chronological order. My turn, your turn. Chronological. Chronological. Yeah. How many people put down a piece of paper, like an act or a Declaration of Independence or something like that? A few of you did that. When you're doing that, you might make a web. You might take a circle, and in the inside you put the Stamp Act. And then as you're taking notes, you're jutting out all these pieces of information about the Stamp Act. As writers, you have to think, what's my topic and what kind of plan? How will I keep notes on this chapter? Some of you might be now ready to be like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start taking notes. I'm going to flip the website over. If you get a Chromebook out in your Google Classroom, you've got some hot links to expert resources, expert texts about the American Revolution, so you can start doing that research. Writers, you have to take the training wheels off. I have to let go of the bike a little bit. The things that you need to be doing today are digging into, do I have a topic? Hey, grab your writer's notebook and I'll catch you up in a minute, okay? Grabbing your writer's notebook. No, grabbing a topic, choosing a topic. That's always like where we're starting. So we're moving away from all about the American Revolution and zeroing in on something. In fact, to really help me stay organized, I want you to actually put at the top of the page where you wrote that topic, Feb 13, so that I know that that's from today, Feb 13. Yeah, Feb 13. So that way I know. And if it's blank, I'll know like, ooh, I got to get with you quickly to help you get that topic written down or chosen. And then writers, a big part of your job today is going to be being a reader. Are you reading everything about the American Revolution? No. Today we're moving from all the all-abouts and sort of zeroing in on a topic of interest to us. A focus topic. And our reading and writing today is going to be focused in on whatever topic we've chosen. Now, that might feel new. You might be like, what? I'm in 4th grade. I thought you didn't write research papers till middle school. But we're really gathering information right now to be ready not just to turn in a list of information, but to be able to take our notes and write something interesting about it. Friends, let me tell you about a very cold day in the Boston Harbor. What do you think I'm writing about there? Yep. Yes, I am. How did you know that? Yep. A very cold day in the Boston Harbor. So I could just be boring like this. There was something that happened in Boston in 1762, but instead I started interesting like you start a narrative. It was a very cold day in the Boston Harbor. The fog was rolling over and the revolutionaries were ready for one of their most scariest days. Doesn't that make you want to keep reading it? Yeah. So hopefully you'll find some information out that would be like, okay, what happens next, right? So you're doing this balancing act of taking everything you know that good writers do, reading carefully to gather your facts, deciding, am you making a list, are you making a web, are you writing down dates, taking those notes. And this is new work. So you're going to get over to your spot and be like, I don't know what to do. So I'll be working with you, holding the back of your bicycle a little bit. But then eventually I got to walk away and help somebody else, okay? How many people feel like they've chosen a topic for today? Okay. Let me just be clear. Resources include our books, your Chromebook with the Google Classroom page with the resources, the internet. Please do not go all over the internet. Please go to the places we've curated. My turn, your turn. Curate. Curating means we've already done a good job of finding a list of places. We've curated it. We've put it together on our own. So this is a basket of curated realistic fiction. The Google Classroom has a curated and approved list of websites. Your job is to dig in and start to gather information, to be a note taker, and then soon, probably about halfway through, I'll be like, who's ready to start doing a little bit of writing, okay? If you feel ready to start your research, you can leave the rug. If you want to touch base with me before you research, you can stay on the rug. Hang on. Mini lesson is over. I'm done being bossy. I'm letting go of the bike, and I'm going to set the timer for about 12 minutes, and I'll do a whole class check-in in about 12 minutes. Please be focused. Be relentless about being a researcher and a note taker right now, okay? Okay. Off you go. Anyone who wants to just chat about their topic with me, feel free. Piece of paper. If you want to just check in on your topic. So you're good, feeling good on Boston Tea Party?
We're in Boston, in Tea Party research and the thing.
Yes. So go to your Google Classroom and there'll be a hot link. And look at, there's a whole book called The Boston Tea Party. So why don't you start with that book? Okay, perfect.
My left foot is asleep.
I'm sorry. Can you shake it out a little bit starting at the ankle? Thank you. Okay, have a seat. Perfect. Good. I see people with Chromebooks. I see people with their notebooks open. Fabulous. Great combination of activities, writers. Okay, so we've been studying. Oh, did you choose while I was right here? And you're choosing like one of the bloodiest moments of the revolution. Are you ready for it? Interested in that? Yeah. So I don't know this for sure, but I'm looking at this book called Fight for Freedom, The American Revolutionary War. I'm just guessing that might be a good resource for you for finding out more about the Boston Massacre. Do you want to grab it really fast and we can see if it has an index? Do you know how to use an index?
Pretty sure it's the last one.
Yep, it's usually at the end. Awesome. Great work. Okay, you skim through it and see if there's anything on it. Okay, do you see where the Boston Massacre is? Okay, slide your finger down. Show me right where you're looking. We passed it. It's way up here near all the Bostons.
Oh.
Yeah. Where is it? What pages?
Right there. 8 and 54.
Okay, you find page 8 and put that on page 8. Good. I'm going to find 54 and put this on page 54. 8 to 10. Voila. Okay, so this has information in a box. It has a caption. It has a lot of print right here to read through. So you want to read that. And then it said there's also something on the Boston Massacre on page 54. So your job now, and you have to be honest with me, Erin, because I just met you 10 seconds ago.
Okay.
Is this a comfortable reading level for you, or is this going to be hard for you to read, easy, or medium?
Like half and half.
Okay, so dig into it, see what you can figure out, okay? But you just found a just right resource for your topic, so you're ready to go. Okay, find a place to work. I know I said 12 minutes, I'm lying. Let me have eyes for a minute. I want to say something because I see so many people using their Chromebook as a tool and as a resource now, and I'm a huge fan, right? But can we just have 2 or 3 quick reminders about how to use your Chromebook while being a note taker at the same time? So I want to give a shout out right here. Tell me your name. What's your name? Yep. Cheyenne, do you see how she's got her notebook like right smack in front of her, like even covering part of her Chromebook? Your notebook has to be central to your note taking, okay? So I don't see anybody with their notebook under their laptop, but yes, see how you guys are moving, like, exactly. Get your notebook. That's where I don't just want you to consume the technology. I don't just want the technology to like flow over you. I want you to produce something with your technology. I want you to get notes after you've read something. So it has to be super active, like you got to be busy with it, right? For those of you that have books, you're right next to each other, look how they've got like their books their notebooks front and center over their books. Like we've got to be actively note taking as we read. One other quick thing I want to say about technology. Don't stay on a website for more than 10 minutes if you're not getting no, I'm going to change the time. For more than 5 minutes if you're not finding it useful. Close it out and find another site. Dig in. You don't have to just read blah, 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 if it's not being helpful for you. Get smart. Be like a savvy user of your technology. It's okay to reject a website to be like, interesting, but not on my topic, right? Okay, get back to your active research, friends. Active research, and I'm going to check in with a few writers. This is going to be awesome because I'm taking this chair and I'm just going to be able to float around the middle. I'm going to push this back. If you guys want to lean in to be able to see, I'm in a conference right here just so that you can hear a conference right away. Okay, Caden, tell me what your topic is. Tell me.
T-tax.
The T-tax. Okay, do you have any background information on that yet?
Well, I got some here.
Oh, good. So it looks like you Googled it. Yep. Now you're still on the search page here, so you're getting some super basic information down about what it is, right? Mm-hmm. But you're not deep into any of the information quite yet. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you a push as a consumer of research. Which one of these links might you click on to learn more information? Which one looks good? Like it's going to have some good information.
This one?
Okay, so let's see. That's from a website called ushistory.org. Does that look like good info? Yeah, so look at me. When you first searched, you get a list of places you can click on. As a reader, I want you to find the one that you can click on to read more. If this one wasn't good, you could exit out and go back to your search and find another one. So now your job is to read this. Since you don't have a ton of background, I almost want you to read the whole thing and then go back a second time and take notes. Could you try that as a strategy? Okay. So just read the whole thing once and then go back and take notes, so that you get that big picture idea about the T-Act, okay? Okay, thank you, Caden. Great job. About the T-Tax. I said T-Act, but it's T-Tax, but maybe they'll be related, so that's why you have to get your big picture info first. Okay. Classic 4th grade thing, taking notes from the Google search instead of clicking into the link. So that gives me info that might be like, should I do a quick mini lesson on that? Should I do a homework on it? How do I help kids realize, like, if you've got a website called .org or .edu, it's from a nonprofit or a college, and that might be better than a .com site. So this like gives kids such a good opportunity to like learn some of those discrete skills as researchers, which are really hard. And now I'm basically contradicting myself in my conference because I'm like, I want you to read all about the T-Act and then go back and take notes. But this is where that difference of they don't have 2 weeks under their belt comes into play. Right? So a conference is just really quick. That almost felt more like a reading conference than a writing conference. But being a savvy note taker is part of how you become a good informational writer. right? So I got to help him become a good note taker. So now, on my little conferencing note, I know I want to look at his notes tomorrow to be like, so did you do it?
Yeah.
How'd it go? Right, what'd you get? Okay. So I'll do right here just so you can continue to hear. I'll have time for one more. Where's your name in cursive? What's your name?
Jalen.
How do you spell it?
J-A-E-L-Y-N.
Okay, Jalen, what's your topic?
The decoration.
Okay.
Decoration.
Not decoration. My turn, your turn. Ready?
Deck.
Declaration.
Blur.
Declaration.
Declaration.
You did it. Okay, Declaration of Independence. Okay.
Yep.
So, full disclosure, you're going to find goo gobs of information about this document. Why?
Well, because it's actually kind of cool that it made all of our rights happen.
Yeah, it did. It's like this VIP document for America, right? So as you dig in, I'm going to look over your shoulder. How did you find this? This is a perfect site. Why is this such a great site?
Tells you the years that it happened, the days that it happened, where it happened, and stuff like that. And we just kept on scrolling. Finally, I found the Declaration of Independence.
Yes. Good. So, as a reader, so you're in this space where you're both a reader and a writer today, right? I want you to just spend a little bit of time reading through this to gather information, and then you might, remember how I was saying you might do a timeline in your notes if you were studying a person? I think you might end up doing a timeline today, even though you're not doing a person, right? So your notes might sort of have, if I can for a minute, let me do it on here. Your notes might have like a box with a date, an arrow, and then you write what happens. A box with a date, an arrow, and then you're writing what happens. Because you've got a chronological order to how the Declaration of Independence happened. How's the reading level on this for you? Do you feel like you can read it okay?
Yeah, I can read it.
Okay.
I can read really good, and then
Oh, sorry, that's just my conferencing note. Go ahead.
so I can read Amethyst right off the snap.
Wow,
So we were on a sign that says Amethyst Street down in Florida, and I can read like that.
that's amazing. Yeah, so reading this will be not your huge challenge. Then you've got to move from dates and events to putting them in your notes.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know how to spell things very good, so I'm gonna have to read it to see how to spell it going back and forth.
And let me tell you, as a researcher, that's okay. You want to get that spelling right. I might suggest, are you a righty or a lefty?
Right.
Okay, so can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Put your laptop here, and when you go to take notes this way instead of with your notebook on the other side, because this complements your notebook, your writing hand, and your writing materials being on your right side as opposed to it being on your left side where you have to cross over. Okay? Awesome. Okay, dig in. I'm going to take a few notes about what we talked about. Friends, eyes on me. I said I would give us 12 minutes. It's already been 12 minutes. Can you believe it? Like, you're really digging in. Do you feel yourself getting smarter about the American Revolution already? Yeah, so I'm just going to stop for 2 minutes of teaching time here. And I want to mention a trend that I'm seeing. So I want to throw out another piece of writerly advice for you. So here's something important for you to recognize. I'm going to use cadence in my experience in our conference. Since you are new to these topics, it might help to read the whole page or read the whole website once and read it like it's a movie in your head. You know, really make sure you're reading it with fluency and being interested in it and, making it sound good in your head. And then you might want to take notes the second time you read it, because then you know the background and you can find the most important parts, okay? So that's my advice I want you to think about, because no one in here yet is a deep expert on the Revolutionary War, so we can skim that page through first once on our own, and then shift to being like, okay, on this page or on this website, what were the 3 to 6 most important things that I want to write down? Because you don't have to write down everything. You want to find the most important pieces of information, okay? Positioning your materials, that's what we talked about. Reading everything through first, and then using that thinking brain to figure out what were the most important things that I want to now jot down in my notebook. Okay, back to writing. It only took me a minute and a half. So now let's see if we can go 9.5 more minutes maybe. Okay, 9.5 more. Thank you for the thumbs up. I just got seconds on my phone, so I'm super happy. 9.5. Okay, so can you tell me?
Researching here. Well,
Can you tell me who your 2 strongest writers are? Yeah.
Vince, who's the boy in the black shirt,
Yeah.
and then Evie, who's got the vest and the orange shirt.
Okay, so right now I'm just going to grab a small group of our 2 strongest writers really fast, because isn't one of you gifted? Is someone gifted here?
Well,
Or divided?
you mean of my students?
Yeah. Do you teach who teaches the other 5th grade? Yeah, the other 4th. I just want you to see how I'm pushing.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Can you bring this to the rug just for a second? Your notebook and your pencil. Yep. Vince, can you come to the rug with your notebook and pencil really fast, just for a second? Yep. Okay. Do you want to join us? Come on over. Okay. So, writers, I want to mention something that should begin to be happening with your writing as you move to this stage, okay? And that's the idea that as you take notes, there could be some things that you are copying exactly. Do you know that feeling of you're like, I don't know what year, hang on, I'm going to look at your topics. I don't know what year the Boston Tea Party happened, so I'm going to write that down exactly. But another thing that great writers start to do in their note-taking is they start to summarize things. And so can I use your notebook as an example for a minute? So I don't know whether you're doing this or not, but I just want to make sure you're picking this up on the skill. So do you see that she doesn't write a whole sentence that says, they dumped 90,000 pounds of tea. She just writes 90,000 pounds. So she's just capturing the big idea. Now, I'm assuming that's 90,000 pounds of tea, right? Do you know how much tea that would be? Oh my, I'm overwhelmed. I didn't know that fact.
It costs that much.
$1 million worth of tea today. So do you see how she doesn't write, it would have cost $1 million today? She just gets the fact down. $1 million today. As writers who are trying to write information pieces, there will be times when you almost copy a whole sentence down, but you want to get better and better at just capturing the VIP ideas, the most important ideas. You're using bullets and making a list. So are you. So those are great strategies that you can use. Do you see how yours is sort of there's some info here, there's some info here, there's some info here? You might want to start making a bulleted list as well to capture your information more easily. So 2 things to think about. Not copying down whole sentences from your sources, but getting the most important info down and using a bulleted list to help really organize what you want to include. Okay? Try saying back to me, what's the first thing we talked about?
No, try not to just copy it down. Don't copy down a full sentence.
Yeah, you don't have to copy the full sentence. And then what's a structure for being organized?
Maybe doing bullet points.
Yeah, a bulleted list, right? So it's not an outline. You're just getting the bulleted list down, which means when you go to write, it's easier for your eyes to skim through a bulleted list than it is to skim through a paragraph. You don't have to fix this. It's not wrong. It's just a strategy that you can use as a writer. Okay? Fabulous. Back to your spots, guys. This is so interesting. She was like, I'm coming too. Like such a thing of beauty, right?
Do you suggest maybe this is a conversation for after?
Yeah.
If it is, you
Yeah,
just keep
I
it
will.
in mind. With Evie, the one that she is an amazing writer, awesome voice in her writing. It takes her until Jesus comes to write something down because she has got some focus issues. But it's like when you finally knew it,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have such a hard time getting her to
So
get
she's got a great set of notes from today, from one day of note taking. So maybe there is a way to really conference with her to say, I want to talk with you about your pacing. And, you know, let's talk about if she's methodical, there may not be a way to disrupt that.
Yeah,
That just might be who she is as a writer.
Yeah.
If she's distracted or if she's going slow because she knows she's a good writer and she's like taking advantage of the situation, there's a way to disrupt that too.
Yeah,
So you sort of have to figure out what the root cause is. Like if she's methodical and that's the way she writes, she's going to be methodical and that's the way she writes, and it'll serve her well when she's 18 and having to write her college essays when she has all the time in the world. Might it kick her butt a little bit when she has to take the EOCs? Maybe, but who cares? Like, I'd rather have her write a great college essay.
Like at the end, she's got an amazing.
Yeah, right, and that's what matters, right? But we should talk about that again because I'm also guessing that could be a problem in the other room. Yep. Friends, we're in our 3-minute stretch. As writers, if you need to shrug your shoulders back 4 or 5 times, if you need to shake out your wrists because you're starting to get a little bit of a cramp, you can do that. Also, sometimes it helps to like wiggle your hips in your chair a little bit, but I want you to push through that home stretch of the next 3.5 minutes, okay? Really focused. So what are you doing? Tell me what you're working on.
So I'm probably about almost at the end right here.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go back up and see what information I can write down.
Okay, so you're almost done with the reading part. That's awesome. Keep going at it. That's fab. Whoa, I had no idea this was going to be this long. Is that the actual tax? Is that the language of the tax? I think that might be the old-fashioned language of the tax. Is it? Let's go up a little bit. Yeah, that's the old-fashioned language. So I think, look what it says. The text of the Tea Act follows below. So I think you might actually not have to read all of this because all of your good summary information is right here. And reading this, doesn't it feel super old-fashioned? Yeah, it does. So I don't want to encourage you to keep reading that. For immediate exportation to foreign parts and to empower the chief magistrate of any corporation, blah, blah, blah. So now I want you to see if in these next few minutes you can get some great facts from the front part written in your notebook. Okay, I'm going to give you a push. I don't think that that's a super reliable website. So can you go back and see if you can find a better, yes, that looks like a much better website to me, okay? Thank you. Very reliable. Oh, you found a great website. Look at you, you are rocking and rolling today. Look at all that info, nice job. Wow. You look like you found a great source. Awesome. Man, wait a second. An extra money for playing cards? So it wasn't just for stamps in the mail? I had no idea. That's fascinating. Keep going. Look at that. Great job. Great work. So I just want to see. So I want to make sure you know this. This is the text of the Declaration of Independence. It's not information about it. It's the actual Declaration of Independence itself. So as you research, this is what it says. This is what I was singing. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice and domestic tranquility. Oh, actually, hang on, I got to find that part. So this is the text of what's in the document. It's called a primary source. If you are, we're last 30 seconds, home stretch. Keep going these last 30 seconds while I finish this conference. So if you want to find out information about the Declaration of Independence, you have to go to a different website. This one will tell you what's actually written on the piece of paper, okay? Got it? So do you want to read what's in the Declaration of Independence, or do you want to research what it's all about? Okay, good. So you can quickly find another site. Nice job. Look at your pencils on fire. Wow. I just have to compliment you. This is really great note-taking. Terrific job, Caitlin. Are you using images? Oh, are you doing the Boston Massacre? Disgusting and fabulous. Look at that. So they actually have the Boston Massacre, a photograph courtesy of the Library of Congress. So I wonder if someone made that back in the 1700s. Wow. And you're using a great website. Good job. Did you take any notes today or just research?
I just researched, and everything that I heard, nothing seemed to be really interesting. The most interesting I found was when it was saying how they had right here burned
Wow.
for human massacre, I think.
Whoa. So I want to make sure you know. Hang on, I'm going to show you who. I forgot his name. Oh, Aaron has a really great source book on the Boston Massacre too, okay? So be sure to use that book tomorrow. Writers. I don't know how this happened. I do not know how. We got a ton of research time in today, but we have to transition into a share. So at the beginning of our lesson, that's a mini lesson. That's where I do the teaching. Then the middle is work time. So shake it out. Do you feel like you worked today? Like, who wrote more than a half page today of notes, or read more than 2 pages? Almost everybody, right? So this is the work of being researchers and informational book writers. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have you get with your partner and just pick whose desk you're going to stand at, and I want you to have your notebook, and I'm going to use yours as an example, and I want you to pick 1 or 2 interesting things to read and show. I want you using your notebook and pointing to the part that's interesting that you captured in your notes, or you can be like, I'm going to use yours as an example. I found this website with a time. Let me show it to you. So you are showing and talking to your partner about what you researched and learned today. You're only going to have about 2 minutes each. So decide quickly where you're going to sit or stand to have this conversation, and be a teacher. Teach your partner about what you learned today. Okay? Make that transition. Aaron, I'm going to work with you because I know you came late. Okay. Get with your partner, quick, be a teacher. Today and then point and show them. Okay, what'd you get done today?
So, I got 8 and 10 done.
Whoa, and tell me what you learned.
So,
What was interesting?
And then the seed of American Revolution were planted during the French and Indian War.
Okay, so back in those other wars, that's when Americans you know, got the idea. That's what planted the seeds that we should have our own war. Yeah. And anything about the actual Boston Massacre yet?
No. I'm gonna, I was gonna go look at page. Let me see.
54 too. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't got to that. I was almost gone to that, but then you said we actually.
That's awesome. And I can't, I know that the reason the Boston Massacre happened is because there were taxes, there were unfair laws, there were, you know, the British were just being so unreasonable. But I don't honestly know who shot who in the Boston Massacre.
knows,
Yeah, did the British shoot the revolutionary, you know, we weren't really Americans yet, we're still, because we didn't have America, or did the people who lived here fight the British first? So this is going to be important to dig into. Okay, thanks, Erin. Terrific learning. You can work for 2 more minutes, okay? Make sure you're teaching, pointing at something and explaining, okay? Pointing and explaining. So this is what the share is for today's lesson, only the actual share is get with someone who's not your partner, but because we just did partners today. And this idea of like, you have to be learning this stuff well enough. You can't write about it till you can actually teach it to someone. And the actual, I didn't quite follow the mini lesson exactly. I followed the concept, but it's like, make sure they know that they are a teacher today. And so I'm just sprinkling that in, but like they sort of hammer it, right? But this is called rehearsing. So it's the verbal rehearsing before you actually go to write. We're fooling them into thinking that they're experts on something. Like, and this is the joy of it, because in 2 weeks they will be. Yeah. But they have to think that from day one.
Up and two.
Wow.
Look how much information.
Nice, guys. Writers, I know you might not be done. Every day has a share time. Mini lesson, work time, share time. I just want you to elbow bump your partner and tell them good job. Good job, Erin. Thank you. Elbow bump them. Good job. Head back to your spot. I'm passing around Post-it notes. I want you to take one off the top, peel it off, and I want you to put it at the side of what you did today, like this, so that we can find it quickly if teachers need it in their conference. Put this on this. So take one, pass the pad on. There you go. Take one, pass the pad on, and put it at the side of what you wrote today so we can find this later. Writers, we're in the middle of a process. We've chosen topics, and now we're researching, we're jotting down our ideas, and as you move through this unit, you're going to have to take all of these notes and make them into something interesting for someone else to read so that we can create many experts on aspects of the Revolutionary War. Not just the big all about part, but the detailed parts that make the world an interesting place. Thank you. Someone actually put their title on their Post-it. That's super helpful. Can you put your title and your name? Because then maybe we'll pull these out and we'll make a little chart of who's doing what. So on that Post-it, and it needs to be sticking out of the edge of your notebook so that I can see it a little bit. Like this, guys. See how it's sticking out a little bit? So Ashlyn will just write, Ashlyn, Sugar Act. Awesome. And then you guys are, I'm embarrassed I don't know. Where are they staying or going? Is your class staying or going?
They're going.
Okay, so leave your notebook open right here. Leave your website open, your Chromebook open as well, okay? And writers, do you guys usually just go to a line? Yeah, so you should carefully go to a line. Once your Post-it note with your name is there. Thank you for letting us work with you today. It was outstanding. Thank you. Oh, thank you for returning the Post-its. That was awesome today. Thank you.
What do you say?
Thank you, guys. You were heroic writers today. Yeah, that's perfect. I'll know what the rest is. Thank you, Brendan. Fascinating work today. You guys are really rocking it.